Name, rank, branch, tour of duty, and no speeches unless you're up for election this year.
Okay. Bob Brock, United States Marine Corps, 1966 to 69, Corporal of Vietnam in 1968.
Next five, John Dace, Army Security Agency, 64, 67, Rough Western Germany.
Phil Gentile, United States Marine Corps, and in keeping with the Memorial Day today, I'd like to remember my cousin, Lieutenant John Gentile, who lost his life December 29, 1944 in a B-17. Thank you.
Lawrence Gray, Air Force, Jets.
Rick Arts, Army, E5, 50th Armor.
Robert Gray, United States Navy, Nuclear Division, 1974 to 78.
Good morning, Roy Horowitz, United States Army, 1981 to 1987, Germany and the U.S. And in memory of my grandfather, Jaime Horowitz, World War II, my father, Alex Horowitz, World War II, and my father-in-law, Herbert Kushner, World War II.
Morning, Anthony Palmieri, U.S. Army, 1988 to 2009, Nicaragua, Honduras, Kuwait, and Iraq, U.S. Army.
John Conroy, United States Air Force, 2004-2014, C-130 pilot, G-6 pilot, Iraq and Afghanistan.
James Blair, U.S. Army, 1970-71, Vietnam.
Rich Bird, U.S. Army, Vietnam, 69-70.
Harry White, U.S. Army, 2nd Armor Division, Fort Hood, Texas, 1964 and 1966.
I, Sergeant John Stamler, 1975, Pacific Air Command.
Major Becky Lapida, I've been in since 2003. I served in Afghanistan, Operation Enduring Freedom, 2006 to 2007.
John Musial, U.S. Navy, 71 to 74, active, and then reserve until 85.
Lieutenant Colonel John Lapino, U.S. Army, 1989, still active as we speak. Work at Homeland Security of Jersey, active duty. Thanks.
My girlfriend.
I'm Mildred Murphy. I served in the Army as a nurse in World War II.
She's my girlfriend.
Donald Robinson, U.S. Army, 1951-1953, Korea.
Ryan White, United States Marine Corps, 2004 to 2008 with a couple of stops in Iraq, 2006 and 2007.
Lee Hendrickson, United States Navy, 71 and 75, Vietnam, 71 and 73.
Charlie Abraham, 7th Army, Germany, 1956 to 1959.
Tom Saloli, U.S. Army, 1966 to 1969. My last duty station was at User Army Headquarters in Heidelberg, Germany. I'd also like to honor our son, Brian, 1994 U.S. Naval Academy graduate, who was a naval aviator, spent 11 years in active duties, over 350 carrier arrested landings and takeoffs. His last duty station as a lieutenant commander was Air Operations Officer for Strike Force 1.
Good morning. Mike Maloney, United States Marine Corps, Lance Corporal, 1984 to 1987. I was air crew and aviation mechanic on the CH-53A and D helicopter for a squadron in New River Air Station, HMT 204.
Tech Sergeant Leo J. Hornsby, Army Air Force, U.S. Air Force, South Pacific, Greenland, and the Berlin Airlift. Thank you.
Chris Pinelli, U.S. Navy, Destroyer Fleet, 1954 to 1957.
Frank Winsky,
U.S. Navy, World War II.
Chris Conroy, U.S. Air Force, 1964, 1968, 75th Fighter Squadron.
U.S. Navy. Fred Russo, United States Air Force, 15th Air Force. Mayor Peter Biondi, United States Army, 61, 60, I don't know. 4 years and
Bob Allenberg, United States Air Force, 1968 to 1971. New Jersey Air National Guard, 1971 to 1991. Budapest, Ireland.
Bob Julian, United States Air Force, 51 to 55.
Alan McRae, U.S. Army, 61, 62, Troy Fontaine, France, 824 in the company, 1963, 2 to 63, Ellenberg, Germany, second calf, third beacon communication, 1963 to 1968, reserves.
My brother Joseph, World War II, turning 90 this year.
Peter Dimick, United States Navy, 1971 to 1973, Vietnam and Gulf War I. And I also have the honor and privilege of being a Director of Veteran Services for Somerset County.
I'm Jimmy and Julie. I served in the U.S. Army. Was in Vietnam in 1967 and 68. Also, I would like to recognize. Excuse me. Oh, sorry.
You just must have recognized my first husband. U.S. Army.
We served in Vietnam. Oh, we never knew. And her father, World War II, just passed away.
Mary Kelly, Army Nurse Corps, 1976 out. And remembering today my dad, who was a survivor of the USS Indianapolis.
And you know what happens when too many Italian men get together, we all start crying. Yeah. Thanks, Jim. Ken Schenko, United States Marine Corps, 1970 to 73.
And what's up first, Cavs, Japan, 1954, 55, and 56.
Wayne Tuck, United States Air Force, 68, 72, Vietnam, C-78, Caribou Mechanic, 70, 71.
Tom Trevinaro, 61, 62, U.S. Army.
Joe Wagner, United States Navy, Vietnam, 64 through 67. I'd also like to recognize my son and daughter-in-law, Majors Christopher and Catherine Wagner, United States Marine Corps.
Ron Newsom, United States Air Force, Strategic Air Command, 96 Combat Support Group, from 67 to 71. Served in Vietnam, Continuity Air Base in Saigon in 69 and 70.
Staff Sergeant Joe Piazza, United States Army, 1968 to 1974, double Purple Heart recipient of the Vietnam War.
John Kelly, United States Army, 1969 to 1973. At the end of my time in the Army, I met my I discovered gold of a different nature at Fort Knox with my wife. I might add that my parents were also veterans of World War II. My mother and father, and my father did land at Normandy with the Big Red One, and we're going to visit Normandy this summer.
Sergeant Austin Metcalf, 2009 to 2016, multiple tours in Afghanistan. And I'd like to honor one of my good buddies, Mike Alice, who passed in 2013 in Ghazni, Afghanistan.
Tim Boyle, I just want to say thank you to the Borough Committee. Thank you for this presentation and remembering all the veterans here today and their survivors. Tim Boyle, 1966 to 1970, United States Air Force, Pasadena Air Base. Thank you.
Sergeant John Ondish, Army National Guard, 2009 to present, and employed to Bahrain, 2014 to 2015.
George Marias, Army Air Defense, Vietnam, 67, 68, then offensive.
Julio Cap.
Captain Rick Foreman, United States Air Force, retired. Excuse me. Spent 23 years on active duty and with the Air Guard. 22nd Bomb Wing from 1967 to 69 at March Air Force Base, the home of Bob Hope's first USO show. Also had the privilege of meeting General Jimmy Doolittle and General Curtis LeMay in 1968. Then spent 4 years with Headquarters Strategic Air Command in Omaha, Nebraska. 1 year with the 416th Heavy Bomb Wing at Griffiths Air Force Base. And my next two great tours as a Turkish U.S. Logistics Group in Izmir, Turkey. Look it up under Smyrna, Chapter 1, Book of Revelation. It's true. Spent 2 years there, and then came back with the 23rd TAC Fighter Wing. Did I hear you with the 75th TAC Fighter Squadron over there? If so, General Pulis, Shark Pulis, he's another Flying Tiger veteran. Came home to serve 10 years with the 108th TAC Fighter Wing at War Air Force Base until they disbanded in December 1991. Hung up the uniform, but didn't hang up the spirit. Served as president of the Northern New Jersey chapter, Military Officers Association of America. Served as camp commander, Sons of Union Veterans of Civil War, formerly known as the Grand Army of the Republic. You can thank them for Memorial Day. That's right. And spent a tour with the National Sojourners. With that organization, I'm liaison with 4 ROTC units and 25 junior ROTC units, and that's it.
Dan Collins, U.S. Army, 66 and 69, Lakewood, Vietnam, 68, 69. I got at the end of the
First of all, I must say my memory is not bad. However, I do remember my 2 Johns. First one was in the submarines in the U.S. Navy, and if you've ever seen the U-boats, they did. The second husband was awarded 2 guys. He was awarded by Pierre Salinger, is that the name? He fought in Normandy, all those 5 places in World War II. He got a medal from whatever. All I know is those men did their job, and I'm proud of them.
As she
call the name, Miss Gloria. Yeah.
In memory of my dad, Robert Podrzewski, U.S. Navy, World War II.
Michael Silverman, U.S. Navy, served aboard USS America, Vietnam, 68 through 71.
I, Kathy Fee, United States Army Captain, Germany Nuclear Weapons.
Andy Pagodi, Cu Chi, Vietnam, 1965 to 68, E5.
Jim Moore, United States Army and National Guard, 1984 to 2011, served and toured in Iraq as an Army helicopter pilot.
Leon Morrison, U.S. Army, 1956 to 58, Army Reserves, 59 to 1963.
Keith Marley, U.S. Navy, Vietnam, 68 to late 70. Retired Chief, Navy Intelligence in 1994.
George Marlatt, U.S. Army, Korean War, 1951 to 53.
Aaron Moore, I just finished my second year at the U.S. Military Academy.
John Macon, U.S. Army, 62 to 68, Fort Lewis, Washington.
Tony Natal on behalf of Anthony J. Army, Vietnam.
Morning, Ed Davis, Army, Vietnam, 1969.
Stan Block, certified 1970-73 Vietnam combat engineer.
Mark Pagoco, U.S. Navy, 1942.
Rosalucci, Army, 65-68, Vietnam, 67-68, 173rd Airborne.
Tom Cronin, retired U.S. Navy, 1945-1972, Chief Aviation Machinist.
Gabriel Howard, U.S. Army, 51-53.
Henry Donald, U.S. Army, 54 to 56, occupation of Germany.
Flight Sergeant Dick Trosey, United States Field Artillery, 57th Field. We were attached to the 1st Marine Division, the Battle of Joseph Reservoir, where we lost many, many men. When asked by the press why the commanding general of the 1st Marine Division, why we were in a retreat, his response was, "We're not in retreat, we're advancing in another direction."
Tony Fusco, 1967-1969, Fort Dix, New Jersey, U.S. Army.
Testimony. Okay. Dick Coleman, I'm the naval aviator. I was a naval aviator from 53 to 57, and then Naval Reserve until 74. I'd like to remember my brother, Ralph, who was a Air Force, Army Air Corps at that time, not Air Force, and who was killed in action in June of 44 over France. Thank you.
John Harmon, U.S. Air Force, 5061. I'd like to give a shout out to my friend George Schmidt and my nephew, Jeff Bisco. He died on the USS.
I'd like to commemorate the memory of my husband, Jesse Harris, who served in the Vietnam War. Upon returning home, he served at the Pentagon. And the memory of my father, Charles Rapp, who was a World War II veteran, as well as my father-in-law, Jesse Harris, who was in World War II. And I have two uncles who served in World War II in the Army who never returned home.
Ted Lizio, Regular Army, 1954 to 1957, standby reserve to 1962.
Mike Connell, United States Army, 61 to 63, Cuban crisis. John Christ, United States Marines, 1943-46.
U.S. Army, Medal Corps, 71 to 73.
Rich Shepley, U.S. Air Force, 68 to 72, Turkey.
Jeff Mitchell, United States Air Force, 1987 to 2011. Retired out of McGuire Air Force Base. 3 tours in Iraq, 1 in Kuwait, and 1 in Pakistan. And currently junior ROTC instructor in Brick Township.
Mark Diaz served in the United States Air Force, Southeast Asia and Europe.
Joe Kasich, Corporal United States Army, 1953 to 1955.
Jim Walsh, United States Army, Bamberg, Germany, 1960 to 62. 2nd Battle Group, 3rd Infantry Division.
I'm Dave Ferguson. I served from 61 to 63, and I was in the Missile Corps. Haven't heard any missile people here at all. But we guarded the Yellow Sea during the Vietnam War, 61 to 63. And I also want to remember my 2 brothers who were Navy. Both are no longer living.
John O'Donnell, U.S. Army, Korea, 53, 54, 55.
Dave Lambert, U.S. Army, 63 to 65, Fort Benjamin Harrison.
Mario Lugo, United States Air Force, 54, 64, around the world.
Jim Weidenfeller, U.S. Army, 1951, 52, and 53. The 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment, Armored Recon.
Andy Campanelli, U.S. Army Sergeant, from 55 to 58, and reserves through 61.
Clifford Priestless, United States Army, 1986 to 1991, Pennsylvania National Guard, 1991, 1994.
Bloom, United States Navy, 77 to 80.
Last but not least, our police chief.
Darren Powell, U.S. Army, 1984 to 1987, and U.S. Navy, 1989, 1993, Gulf War I.
All right, Mayor, mission accomplished.
True military fashion, efficient and timely. Love it. Thank you. Okay. At this time, thank you all again for being here this morning. I would ask that you please exit through the front doors and head over to the Garden of Honor ceremony. One last thing before you go. Operation Shoebox has donated a number of Girl Scout cookie boxes. Feel free to take them after the parade. They'll be set up out.
As time went on and interest grew in it, we realized that a POW MIA monument would further enhance the Garden of Honor. So VFW Post 8371 generously donated the POW MIA monument that we're going to unveil in just a moment. The 3 military benches were generously furnished by the Military Order of the Purple Heart, the Rotary Club of Hillsborough, and the parish family of Mary Mother of God Church. Christopher, congratulations on your Eagle Scout project. Thank you very much for your consideration of our veterans, and in particular those prisoners of war missing in action, for whom we still hope and pray for their return to their loved ones. Thank you for enhancing our Garden of Honor, and we look forward to further recognizing you with a proclamation at a future Township Committee event. And I'm going to come down there, and I'd like to please gather around, and we're going to unveil the plaque. Thank you very much.
Go.
How's that?
Nice.
Slowly.
To the back.
1, 2, 3. I can't thank you enough for this project. I know the veterans here are, I'm sure, very thankful as well for the special meaning behind this. It's a tremendous addition to our Garden of Honor, and we thank you very much for it.
This is done by 12.
Straighten yourself
This is done by 12. But you can sneak out. Wait, so we should be back here at 11:15.